The phone call was supposed to end at 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in March. I remember the exact time because I was staring at my laptop screen, the cursor blinking mockingly at the blank document where my thesis was supposed to materialize. Mom had called to check in, as she did every week since I'd moved back home after my breakdown at graduate school. "All right, sweetie, I'll let you get back to your work," Mom had said, her voice carrying that careful, measured tone she'd adopted with me over the past 6 months. Like I was made of glass, like I might shatter if she spoke too loudly. "Okay, Mom, love you," I'd replied, already reaching for my coffee mug, my mind drifting back to the empty page. I heard the soft beep that usually signaled the end of our calls. But this time, the line didn't go dead. Instead, I heard rustling, footsteps, and then my mother's voice again, no longer careful or measured. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. "Is she off?" That was my younger sister, Vanessa's voice, sharp and impatient. "Yes, finally," Mom sighed, and something in that sigh made my hand freeze halfway to the keyboard. I swear these calls drain me. I have to watch every single word. I should have hung up. Any decent person would have ended the call, would have given them their privacy. But I didn't. My finger hovered over the red button, but I couldn't press it. Something cold and terrible was uncoiling in my chest. "Tell me about it," Vanessa said, and I could hear the eye roll in her voice. Living with her is like having a ghost in the house. She just drifts around, barely speaking, barely existing. It's depressing. The world tilted. The edges of my vision went white, then dark, then white again. "Vanessa, don't be cruel," Mom said, but her voice lacked conviction. "She's struggling. The medication, the therapy, it's been 6 months, Mom. 6 months of tiptoeing around, of canceled family dinners because Emma needs quiet, of pretending everything's fine when she's clearly not getting better. Do you know what Aunt Carol asked me last week? She asked if Emma was ever going to be normal again. I didn't know what to say." "What did you tell her?" Dad's voice now, deeper, wearier. I changed the subject, but honestly, I don't know either. "Is she going to be normal again?" There was a long pause. I pressed the phone so hard against my ear it hurt. "I don't know," Mom said finally, and those 3 words shattered something fundamental inside me. Dr. Morrison says these things take time, but sometimes I wonder if we made a mistake. Bringing her home, I mean. Maybe she should have stayed at that facility where there were professionals who could actually help her. "The facility wanted to keep her another 3 months, Dad said. "We chose to bring her home early." "Because she begged us to," Mom replied, defensive now. "She said she'd do better at home, that she just needed familiar surroundings. But look at her, James. She's barely functional. She can't even finish her thesis. That professor called again yesterday, asking about her progress. I had to make excuses. Again." "I'm just tired," Vanessa said, and for the first time, she sounded less angry and more exhausted. "I'm tired of coming home and feeling like I have to be quiet. Tired of my friends asking why my sister never comes out anymore. Tired of watching you two pretend everything's okay when we all know it's not. It's like we're all holding our breath, waiting for her to either get better or what?" Dad's voice was sharp. "I don't know. Just something has to change. This isn't sustainable. You know it's not." Another long pause. I could hear the clock ticking in their kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd eaten breakfast that morning in silence while they made small talk about the weather, about Vanessa's new promotion, about everything except the elephant in the room, except the ghost. "Maybe we should look into other options," Mom said quietly. "There's that residential program Dr. Morrison mentioned. It's in Vermont. Intensive therapy, structured environment. She might do better there. You mean send her away, Vanessa said. I mean give her the help she actually needs, Mom countered, and give us our lives back. Is that so terrible? To want our house to feel like a home again instead of a hospital ward? I ended the call then. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped the phone. I sat there in my bedroom, the same bedroom I'd had since I was 14, surrounded by the posters I'd never taken down and the books I'd read 100 times, and I felt something shift inside me. They wanted me gone. They thought I was a ghost, a burden, an inconvenient problem to be managed or shipped away. 6 months ago, I'd called them from my dorm room at 2 a.m., sobbing so hard I couldn't breathe, telling them I couldn't do it anymore, that the pressure was crushing me, that I wanted to disappear. They'd driven 4 hours through a snowstorm to get me. They'd held me while I fell apart. They'd promised everything would be okay. But that was then. This was now. And now, apparently, I was the ghost haunting their perfect family life. I looked at my reflection in the darkened computer screen. Hollow eyes, unwashed hair, oversized sweatshirt I'd worn for 3 days. When had I become this person? When had I stopped fighting? The old Emma wouldn't have stood for this. The old Emma, before the breakdown, before the panic attacks, and the medication and the therapy sessions, where I dissected every failure until I couldn't remember what success felt like, that Emma would have done something. And suddenly, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I spent the rest of that night planning. Not sleeping, not crying, not spiraling into the familiar dark thoughts that Dr. Morrison had taught me to recognize and redirect. No, I was focused. For the first time in 6 months, I had purpose. They wanted normal. They wanted their lives back. They wanted the ghost gone. I'd give them exactly what they asked for. The next morning, I came down to breakfast early. I'd showered, put on real clothes instead of pajamas, even applied a little makeup. Emma! Mom's surprise was almost comical. You're up early, and you look nice. Thanks, I said brightly, pouring myself coffee. I've been thinking. You're right. It's time I started taking control of my recovery. Dad lowered his newspaper. That's wonderful, sweetheart. What brought this on? Just woke up with clarity, I guess. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. I've been researching programs, and I found this intensive residential treatment center. It's in Vermont. Dr. Morrison recommended it, actually. I watched Mom's face carefully. The flash of relief quickly masked. Vermont? That's quite far. I know, but I think distance might be good. New environment, fresh start, really intensive therapy. It's a 6-month program. 6 months, Vanessa said from the doorway, still in her running clothes. That's a long time. Well, healing takes time, right? I smiled at her. And honestly, I think I need more help than I can get living at home. I don't want to be a burden anymore. Sweetheart, you're not a burden, Dad said, but the words came a second too slow. It's okay, Dad. I know this has been hard on everyone. I want to get better, and I think this is the best way. I pulled out my phone, opened the website I'd been studying. They have an opening in 2 weeks. I'd like to take it. I could see them trying not to look too eager, trying to maintain the concerned parent faces while their eyes betrayed them. 2 weeks is very soon, Mom said. Are you sure? This is a big decision. I'm sure. Actually, I was hoping you could help me prepare. There's a lot to organize, and I want to spend quality time with you all before I go. You know, really connect as a family. Over the next 2 weeks, I was the model recovering patient. I attended every therapy session, I worked on my thesis, I joined family dinners, and actually participated in conversations. I laughed at Dad's terrible jokes. I asked Vanessa about her job. I helped Mom with her garden. I watched them slowly relax, watched the tension drain from their shoulders, watched them start to believe that maybe their problem daughter was finally fixing herself. I also, very carefully, began to collect information. I'd learned something in those 6 months of therapy. People tell you who they are if you just pay attention. And when people think you're not really present, when they see you as a ghost, they say things they wouldn't otherwise say. I discovered that Vanessa had been telling her friends I was mentally unstable and using my breakdown as an excuse to get out of social obligations. I found the group chat on her laptop one afternoon when she'd left it open. "Sorry, can't make it. Emma's having one of her episodes," appeared 16 times in 3 months. None of those times had I actually been having an episode. I found the emails between Mom and her sister, Aunt Carol. Long threads discussing me like I was a science project gone wrong. "I just don't know where we went wrong with her," Mom had written. "Vanessa was always so resilient, so capable. But Emma, she's always been fragile, even as a child." I found Dad's journal. He kept it in his study, in the drawer he thought was locked but wasn't. One entry, dated a week after they'd brought me home. "Brought E home from the facility today. She seemed better, more stable. But I can't shake the feeling that we've made a mistake. The house feels different now, smaller, darker. Sometimes I catch myself resenting her for derailing all our plans. I know that's terrible. I know she can't help being sick, but I can't help how I feel either." I photographed everything, saved everything. Not because I planned to use it, not yet, but because I needed to know the full scope of their betrayal. I needed to understand exactly how they saw me when they thought I wasn't looking. 3 days before I was supposed to leave for Vermont, I called Dr. Morrison. "Emma, I'm so glad you reached out," she said. "Your mother told me about your decision to attend the Vermont program. I have to say, I'm surprised. We hadn't discussed that option in several weeks." "Actually, Dr. Morrison, I'm not going to Vermont." Silence, then carefully. "I see. Does your family know?" "Not yet. But they will. I need to ask you something. Professionally, if someone were to experience a significant betrayal by their family, if they were to discover that the people they trusted most had been essentially waiting for them to disappear, what would you recommend?" Another long pause. "Emma, what happened?" I told her. Not everything, but enough. About the phone call, about what I'd heard, about the past 2 weeks of playing the role they wanted me to play. "I understand that you're hurt," Dr. Morrison said slowly. "What you overheard was undoubtedly painful. But Emma, you've been making real progress. Don't let this derail you." "I'm not derailed. I'm clearer than I've been in months. I just need to know, am I stable enough to live independently? Legally, medically, could I get my own place, manage my own life?" "Emma, please, just answer the question." She sighed. "Yes, you're not under any legal hold. Your medication is stable. Your last evaluation showed significant improvement. But Emma, making a major decision while you're emotionally compromised." "I'm not compromised. I'm awake. For the first time in 6 months, I'm actually awake." That night, I told them I wasn't going to Vermont. We were at dinner. I'd made sure it was a nice one. I'd even cooked, which I hadn't done since before the breakdown. Lasagna, Mom's favorite. Garlic bread, salad, candles on the table. "This is lovely, Emma," Mom said, and she actually meant it. She thought this was goodbye dinner. She thought in 3 days her ghost would be gone. "I wanted to do something special," I said, serving everyone, "because I have an announcement." They all looked at me expectantly. Vanessa was even smiling. "I've decided not to go to Vermont." The smiles froze. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. "What?" Mom's voice was thin. I'm not going. I realized it's not the right choice for me. Instead, I'm moving out. I found an apartment downtown. It's small, but it's mine. I'm transferring to the university here to finish my thesis remotely. And I got a part-time job at a bookstore to support myself. Dad set down his fork carefully. Emma, this is very sudden. Have you discussed this with Dr. Morrison? I have. She agrees I'm ready for independent living. But the Vermont program, Mom said, they're expecting you. We've already paid the deposit. You can get a refund, I checked. Vanessa was staring at me with narrowed eyes. I don't understand. 3 days ago, you were all excited about Vermont. What changed? I took a sip of water, buying time, savoring the moment. I guess I just realized that running away isn't the answer. That hiding in another program in another state isn't going to fix what's broken. That maybe what's broken isn't even me. What's that supposed to mean? Vanessa's voice had an edge now. It means I know what you really think of me. All of you. The silence was deafening. Emma, Dad started, but I held up my hand. Let me finish. 2 weeks ago, Mom, you forgot to hang up the phone. I heard everything. The conversation about me being a ghost, about wanting your lives back, about sending me away. I heard all of it. Mom's face went white. Dad's fork clattered to his plate. Vanessa had the decency to look uncomfortable. I spent the last 2 weeks being the daughter you wanted, cheerful, functional, agreeable, and you know what I realized? You didn't actually want me to get better. You wanted me to go away. There's a difference. Emma, you're misunderstanding, Mom said, but her voice shook. That conversation, we were just venting. We didn't mean what? That living with me is like living with a ghost? That I'm depressing? That you made a mistake bringing me home? Which part didn't you mean exactly? You were eavesdropping, Vanessa said, finding her voice. You listened to a private conversation. You forgot to hang up. And yes, I listened. I listened to the people who are supposed to love me, unconditionally discuss me, like I'm a problem to be solved. I listened to my own sister tell our parents that she's tired of me. I listened to my mother wonder if I'd ever be normal again. We were overwhelmed, Dad said quietly. Emma, you have to understand, it's been difficult. For you? It's been difficult for you? I felt my voice rising and forced it down. I had a breakdown. I fell apart. I called you in the middle of the night because I thought I might actually hurt myself, and you came and got me and promised everything would be okay. You promised you'd help me. You promised I was safe. And we have helped, Mom said, tears streaming down her face now. We brought you home. We got you into therapy. We've supported you. You've endured me. There's a difference. Support is wanting someone to heal. Endurance is waiting for them to leave. I stood up, pushed my chair back. So I'm giving you what you want. I'm moving out. The apartment is ready. I'll be gone by this weekend. You can have your house back, your life back. You can stop walking on eggshells and having tense conversations about how depressing I am. Emma, please, Dad said, standing too. Don't do this. We love you. We're a family. No, I said, and my voice was steady now, cold and steady. Family doesn't give up on you. Family doesn't count down the days until you're someone else's problem. Family doesn't forget to hang up the phone and then say the things you said. I walked to the door, turned back. They were all still sitting there, frozen in their guilt. For what it's worth, I hope this does make your life easier. I hope you enjoy your dinners without the ghost at the table. I hope Vanessa can finally have her friends over without being embarrassed. I hope you can tell Aunt Carol that yes, I'm gone, and no, you don't have to make excuses for me anymore. Emma, Mom sobbed, I'll come back for my things this weekend. Please don't be here when I do. I walked out. I didn't slam the door. I didn't need to. The quiet click of it closing was enough. The next 3 days were a blur. I stayed with my friend Rachel, who I'd been slowly reconnecting with. I told her everything. She helped me move into the tiny studio apartment I'd found, helped me set up the few pieces of furniture I'd bought secondhand. My phone rang constantly. Mom, Dad, Vanessa, even Aunt Carol somehow. I didn't answer. I did, however, send one group text. I need space. I will contact you when and if I'm ready. Please respect this boundary. Vanessa texted back immediately. This is ridiculous. You're being dramatic. I blocked her number. Mom sent a long email. It was full of apologies and explanations and justifications. We never meant to hurt you. We were just stressed. We do love you. Please come home. We can work through this. I didn't respond. Dr. Morrison called. That one I answered. Emma, how are you holding up? Honestly, better than I have in months. Your mother called me. She's very worried. I know, but Dr. Morrison, I need you to understand something. I'm not spiraling. I'm not having a breakdown. I'm making a conscious, deliberate choice to protect myself from people who hurt me. That's healthy, isn't it? That's what you've been teaching me, to recognize toxic situations and remove myself from them. Yes, she said carefully. But Emma, they're your family. They made mistakes, said things they didn't mean. They meant them. That's the thing. In that moment, when they thought I couldn't hear, they were honest. More honest than they'd been in months. And I can't unhear that. I can't unknow that the people I trusted most in the world see me as a burden they're waiting to get rid of. What do you want, Emma? What would make this right? I thought about that. I don't know if anything can make it right, but I know I need space. I need time to figure out who I am without their voices in my head telling me I'm broken. That's fair, she said finally. But Emma, don't close the door entirely. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you not carrying that weight forever. I'm not ready to forgive. Maybe I never will be. Right now, I'm just trying to survive. Weeks passed, then months. I settled into my new life with a determination that surprised even me. The bookstore job was quiet, peaceful. My coworkers didn't know about my breakdown, didn't treat me like I might shatter. To them, I was just Emma, who was good at recommending novels and made excellent coffee. I finished my thesis. It took 3 months of late nights and countless revisions, but I did it, submitted it, passed my defense via Zoom, got my master's degree. Nobody from my family was there, but Rachel was, and that was enough. I went to therapy every week. I took my medication. I built a life that was small, but mine. My family kept trying. Mom sent cards. Dad left voicemails. Vanessa even showed up at my apartment once, but I didn't answer the door. 6 months after I'd walked out, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Emma, it's Aunt Carol. I should have hung up. What do you want? Your mother asked me to call. She's in the hospital. My heart lurched. What happened? Nothing serious. She had a fall, broke her wrist. But Emma, she's not doing well. None of them are. Your father barely speaks. Vanessa moved out last month because she couldn't stand the tension. And your mother, she cries every day. Why are you telling me this? Because you're punishing them for being human, for having one moment of weakness, one frustrated conversation. You're destroying your family over something they didn't even know you heard. They said those things. That's what you're not getting. Whether I heard them or not, they felt them. They thought them. They meant them. People say things they don't mean when they're stressed. Surely you, of all people, understand that. The manipulation was clumsy but effective. Of all people? Because I'm crazy? Because I had a breakdown? That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant. This is exactly why I left. because to all of you, I'm defined by my worst moment. I'm the girl who couldn't handle graduate school, the fragile one, the broken one, the burden. You're being unfair. No, Aunt Carol, for the first time in my life, I'm being fair to myself. I hung up, but the call shook me more than I wanted to admit. That night, I lay in my small apartment, staring at the ceiling, and I thought about revenge. I'd wanted to hurt them the way they'd hurt me. I'd wanted them to feel abandoned, rejected, like they weren't enough. And apparently, I'd succeeded. Was that what I wanted? Really? The answer should have been yes. The anger that had fueled me for 6 months should have been satisfied, but it wasn't. The anger was still there, but now it was tangled up with something else. Sadness, exhaustion. And under it all, a thin thread of something I didn't want to acknowledge. Loss. I missed them. I hated that I missed them, but I did. I missed Mom's phone calls, even the tiptoeing ones. I missed Dad's terrible jokes. I even missed Vanessa's eye rolls and sarcastic comments. But I couldn't go back. Not to the way things were, not to being the ghost they endured rather than the daughter they loved. A year after I'd walked out, I finally agreed to meet with them. Not at the house. I wasn't ready for that. At a neutral location, a coffee shop halfway between their house and my apartment. They were already there when I arrived. Mom looked older, Dad looked tired, Vanessa looked wary. "Emma," Mom said, standing up reaching for me. I stepped back. I agreed to meet. I didn't agree to pretend everything's fine. We sat. The silence was excruciating. Finally, Dad spoke. "We owe you an apology, a real one. Not excuses or explanations. Just, we're sorry." "Sorry for what, specifically?" I asked. Mom flinched but answered. "For making you feel like a burden. For saying those things, thinking those things. For not being strong enough to support you the way you needed." "We were overwhelmed," Vanessa added, "but that doesn't excuse it. You trusted us, and we let you down." "Yes," I said simply. "You did." "We want to fix this," Dad said. "Tell us how. Tell us what you need." "I needed you to fight for me," I said, and my voice cracked. "When I was falling apart, I needed you to fight for me, not count down the days until you could ship me off to Vermont. I needed you to see me, not a ghost or a problem or an embarrassment." "We do see you," Mom said. "Emma, we see you. Maybe we didn't then, maybe we failed you then, but we see you now. You're strong, you're resilient. You rebuilt your life from nothing. You finished your degree, you're surviving, you're more than surviving, you're living. I did all of that without you." "We know," Vanessa said quietly. "And that's what we're sorry for, that you had to do it alone." I looked at them, really looked at them. They were sorry. I could see it in every line of their faces. But sorry wasn't enough to erase what they'd said, what they'd felt. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said. "Not yet. Maybe not ever." "That's fair," Dad said. "But I'm willing to try. Not to go back to the way things were, but to try building something new, something honest, where nobody pretends, and nobody walks on eggshells, and nobody is a ghost." Mom started crying. "Yes, yes, anything." "It's going to take time," I warned them. "And there are going to be rules, boundaries. I'm not moving back home. I'm not going back to being the daughter you want me to be. I'm only going to be who I am, and you're going to have to deal with that." "We can do that," Dad said. "And if I hear, even once, that you're talking about me like I'm a problem behind my back, I'm gone. For good this time." "Understood," Vanessa said. We sat there in that coffee shop, and we didn't fix everything. We didn't hug and cry and become a perfect family again. But we started, slowly, carefully, we started to rebuild something from the wreckage. It took years, Years of therapy, individual and family. Years of difficult conversations and setbacks, and moments when I wanted to walk away again. Years of them learning to see me as I actually was, not as they wanted me to be or feared I'd become. But eventually, we got there. Not back to before, you can't go back, not really. But forward to something new, something more honest, something real. I learned that revenge is complicated, that hurting the people who hurt you doesn't actually heal the wound, that sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't to burn bridges, but to very carefully, very slowly rebuild them. I also learned that I was never actually a ghost. I was always real, always solid, always there. It was them who couldn't see me. And the moment I stopped waiting for them to see me and started seeing myself, that's when everything changed. These days, we have dinner once a month. Sometimes it's awkward, sometimes old patterns resurface, and we have to course correct. But we're trying. All of us are trying. And that phone call, the one that started it all, the one where Mom forgot to hang up? I still think about it sometimes. Part of me wishes it had never happened, but a bigger part of me knows that it was necessary, that I needed to hear the truth, no matter how much it hurt, because it forced me to stop being the ghost they saw and start being the person I actually was. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the thing that saves you. Sometimes you have to lose your family to find yourself. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, you get to do both.